And it was very interesting that I was very busy on my own things on Friday that week until I got a message from Mama Gum. And that's when I said, what is the date today? That's when I remembered that is when I was in office and I saw that message. And my wife told me the same thing. She had also forgotten about it. She was equally busy on her own things, fixing this, fixing that. And you people made our weekend a very, very powerful weekend. We thank you so much for every contribution, every sacrifice you made. We appreciate. And the gifts that you gave us, my wife was saying, how did they know what I was thinking? Because the gift fitted in what she had been thinking. And so, you people cooperated with the Spirit. Yes. Thank God for you as our spiritual family. You make us happy. And we feel, yes, we are part of you and you're part of us. We want to go to the Word of God. And I see the clock is ticking. When I saw the theme for the move on, I said, this is indeed the season. The theme for move on is coming from Isaiah 54. And it's talking verse 2. And it's talking about enlargement. And I said, this is indeed the season for enlargement. And we need to position ourselves for enlargement. It is actually you to determine how far your enlargement will go. In 2011, when I went to Israel, they took us to a place and they've constructed there a house. It's like a tank. You can climb and go up. It looks like this fuel tanks that are the depots where they construct a tank, a cylinder. So they've constructed something like that, and then you climb, and when you stand up there, your eyes can look. And they are stretched. If you don't have an eye problem, you can see very far. They say that's where Abraham stood, and he was told, look east, look west, look south, look north. As far as your eyes go, that's where your boundary will be. And I said, it's God. Because when you stand there, except these days, yes, on Friday I heard that in China, many children are having eye problems. Many of them are short-sighted. People who are short-sighted, they see well. They see near, they see far. They see near. I said, people in China, little children, and actually becomes worse when they get to high school. Many are short-sighted. The problem, because many children are not allowed to be out in the open. There is a lot doing indoors, doing so many things indoors. I said, now those of us who have children who are on TV, who are on the phone all the time, and you are not out playing. Because when you are out, your eyes are stretched to see things in a distance. And that's no wonder you find, actually when I was growing up, it was very rare to find a child in a rural area having glasses that they are having eye problems. It was not that they were so poor that they cannot afford, but the issue is they did not have so much eye problems. When we went to school, maybe secondary, is where you now interact with the people from urban areas, some of whom are starting to have glasses. So urbanization is good, but you need to choose carefully what aspects of urbanization we are actually running with. And so enlargement, you can determine how far you enlarge. If you say my radius is here, 10 by 10. That's how large I will be. Like one time I went to UK for a conference, and then I booked my own accommodation somewhere. You know, when you are here and they're showing you clips, video clips, it looks very nice. When I reached there, I discovered the room was so small. It was so small, it's like, I don't know how to measure it. It's like the moment it fits a bed, you have a very small stretch where you can put your legs, and there is a stool here, and of course there is a washroom attached to the room, and that is it. And you're paying a lot of money. London is a very expensive city, and you're paying a lot of money. And so you can choose the space of your enlargement. How large do you want to go? Do you want to limit yourself, or do you want to go far? And so today we are going to talk about enlargement by a series of battles. Enlargement does not come easy. You have to fight for it. The moment you see things and say, those things belong to me, there is somebody else who is eyeing the same things. You must fight off. When I was in the school where I went, we were not eating from the dining. The dining hall, you go, line up, get food, and you go and eat from your dormitory. And the few times they would cook meat, that's when you would see so many birds flying around there. And if you're not very careful, you might not finish your journey between the dining hall and the dormitory without a bird diving down into your plate. Yes. Yes. These kites, they don't only snatch little chicks. They snatch everything called flesh. They're interested. So you are walking from the dining to the dormitory, and you're not looking up. Your eyes are down and in your plate. Before you know it, the kite has snatched the meat, and because you are unaware, the plate drops down and you lose all the food. But if you are aware, you either cover or you dodge. You see it coming and you change direction because it comes focused. When it has time, those things hardly miss, especially if you are not aware. That's why they can snatch rats. They dive from up there, they dive down and they snatch. So if you see it coming and you change direction, it will dive in the wrong space and you will survive and go. So when you want to enlarge, there are other people the other forces that are eyeing the territory you want to enlarge. And so let's go to the word of God. Let's go to Joshua chapter 10. Joshua chapter 10 and verse 40. We'll start there and we'll look at a few other verses. But verse 40 is telling us, so Joshua conquered all the land, the mountain country and the south, and the lowland, and the wilderness slopes, and all their kings. He left none remaining, but utterly destroyed all that breathed, as the Lord God of Israel had commanded. Meaning, Joshua went to take possession, to lead the children of Israel to possess the land that had been promised, and Moses had been told. And Joshua was among the 12 spies that went to spy the land. And he was told, you have to kill the inhabitants of the land. And so for him to go and lead the troops to be able to conquer and get the land, They knew it is not just going to be a walkover. You will not just walk in there and they say you possess. No, 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 no. Each of us have so many precious things that God has out there for us. Your ministry is about to enlarge. But you are not just going to sit and sleep and you wake up enlarged. No. You fold your sleeves. You fight for what belongs to you. Do you know that even if you know this is my true inheritance? Because the children of Israel knew that was their inheritance. That's what Abraham had been given. And now because they went into Egypt, slaves there 430 years, so they come back and like they said, nature does not like vacuums. So they are coming back to the land. Some other inhabitants have come and occupied the land. Like I'm very sure, those of us who own some few pieces of land, especially in the central here, if you buy and you just come back and relax in Kampala, some occupant will come and will occupy it. And if you're not careful, that occupant will evict you. He will say, oh, you can take me to court if you want. Unless you think so smartly, like one story that I had, I don't know whether I've ever told you that story, of a gentleman who had gotten land, come back to Kampala, and he was very busy in Kampala, and then eventually he goes back to check the land. There is already a house built and a wall fence around the house in his land. So then he tried to inquire, and he told him the owner of that house is a military officer. And he knew now his battle is well cut out to see how to fight and evict this army officer who has come and built on his land with a wall fence. Meaning when you're an army officer, if you're a senior officer, you even have armed guards to guard your home. So the guy was very smart. He said, okay, fine. What I need to do, he has built, but I have title. So he went to the bank to borrow money. So the bank came and valued, including the house, valued the property, including the house, and the bank gave him the loan, a very good amount of money. So when the bank gave him some good amount of money, he decided to say, I'm not going to live in Uganda. I will default from installment number one. I will default. And he went out of the country. He defaulted. So the army officer had to confront the bank. The bank is the one that came to evict him, because we have a title of this land and the property. The army officer lost that battle. The other guy took the money. So there are certain wars that have unique strategies to deal with them. There are certain wars that you do not have the capacity until God shows you the strategy of how to deal with. And that is those are strategies that Joshua trusted God. Remember last time we talked about the book of the law. I remember, I think, sharing here talking about eating books. You remember when we talked about eating books? Yes. And Joshua was told, this book of the law, eat this book of the law. It should not depart from you day and night. Meditate upon it day and night. Then you'll be successful. And that was it. The other day I was listening to this, to one of the messages from this great man of God, and he was saying, do you know how much poo-poo an elephant releases at one go? And he said, he asked one of the members in the congregation, Google, tell me. And they Googled, and it is 18 kilos. And he said, for you to be able to poop 18 kilos, you must have eaten a lot. So the more you eat, the more you release. You cannot cook 18 kilos if you've eaten a quarter kilo. And that's why people who are near these game parks, they are in serious trouble, because when an elephant comes to your garden, it knows how much it needs to eat before it can be able to release the 18 kilos. The elephant itself, the weight is more than 1,000 kilos actually. Oh, the food it eats is 1,000 kilos. You see, you can imagine. Because when I went to the Wildlife Education Center in Entebbe here, there is a rhino there. And they said this rhino, the weight of this rhino is like 2 full taxis full of passengers. And the rhino is smaller than an elephant. And so when an elephant visits your garden, and you said, this is my maize garden, I am expecting to harvest 1 ton. That is 1 day's meal for the elephant. That's 1 day's meal for an elephant. And so for you to be able to enlarge, you need to have a lot that you take in, such that when you go out to conquer, people do not understand how many strategies you have. Because when this strategy does not work, you have another strategy, and you have another strategy, and you have another strategy. And this gentleman was saying, he listened to some movie, and some man had his child abducted. And the people that had abducted the child, they said, we want a ransom. But the other gentleman called and assured the guy who had the child that, you know what, you have my child and you want a ransom. I don't have money to give you. But there is a particular set of skills that I've acquired over a long period of time that gives people like you a nightmare. If you don't release my child, I will look for you. I will find you and I will kill you. So the choice is yours. So meaning, you are better off releasing the man's child. That's how you will survive. If you don't release the man's child, you kill the man's child, his promise, I will look for you. And I'm very sure I will find you. And what will happen? I will kill you. Because I've acquired a set of skills that makes people like you a nightmare to me. I make people like you a nightmare. So, what are the set of skills that I have, that you have, that can cause an enemy some nightmares? Because to enlarge your territory, you need to have a set of skills that are unique. But now for you and for me, in the kingdom, to be able to expand, how much do I caution? What are my set of skills? That when the enemy manifests like this, I know which weapon to apply. And when he manifests like this, I know the weapon to apply. I promise you we're going to talk about the what? A series of battles. The battles that you're going to fight. In this chapter, you'll find that Joshua, in chapter 10, verse 5 to 7, you'll find a set of kings. 5 to 7, it says, therefore, the 5 kings of the Amorites, the kings of Jerusalem, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon, gathered together and went up, they and all their armies, and camped before Gibeon, and made war against it. And the men of Gibeon sent to Joshua at the camp at Gilgal, saying, do not forsake your servants. Come up to us quickly, save us, and help us. For all the kings of the Amorites who dwell in the mountains have gathered together against us. So Joshua ascended from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor. And in verse 23, he says, and they did so, and brought out those 5 kings to him from the cave, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon. Meaning he killed all the 5 kings. He fought 5 kings and killed. Remember the children of Gibeon. They came and masqueraded and they got a covenant so that they can be protected. And so look here, these other 5 kings of the Amorites gather themselves and say, now that these Gibeonites have made a covenant with Israel, we need to finish them off. And that's why they cried out. And when they cried out, Joshua did not delay, because it's now that we are in this covenant, as much as we made them our servants, but now we are covenant to protect them. So they went for these 5 kings and they killed them. Even when they hid in a cave, they brought them out and they were finished. No one of them was spared. At times for you to be able to enlarge, there are kings that must die. Because when they are alive, they will reclaim your inheritance. And that inheritance is only for you. But you must evict the occupants. And the occupants, those kings, those Amorite kings, must perish before you can be able to progress. In verse 28, on that day, Joshua took Makkedah and struck it and its king with the edge of the sword. He utterly destroyed them, all the people who were in it. He let none remain. He also did to the king of Makkedah as he had done to the king of Jericho. What did he do to the king of Jericho? Of course, kill him. And he did not end there. Verse 29. Then Joshua passed from Makkedah and all Israel with him to Libnah, and they fought against Libnah. And the Lord also delivered it and its king into the hand of Israel. He struck it and all the people who were in it with the edge of the sword. He let none remain in it, but did to its king as he had done the king of Jericho. So he killed the king of Makkedah. After 5 kings, he killed the king of Libnah. And he did not end there, he killed the king of Lachish. And in verse 33, then Horam, king of Gezer, came up to help Lachish. And Joshua struck him and his people until he left him none remaining. And after he had done that, he did not end there. Verse 34, from Lachish, Joshua passed to Eglon, and all Israel with him, and they encamped against it and fought against it. They took it on that day and struck it with the edge of the sword. All the people who were in it, he utterly destroyed that day, according to all that had been done to Lachish. And he went on to Hebron, and he went on to Debir. He kept fighting. He kept fighting. But you need to know, because you no longer have the king of Lachish, of Hebron, of Makkedah, of Gezer, but you have your own kings, you have your own battles to fight. And we'll look at a few of them. Which battles do I expect to fight? You can expect battles at home. You see, these homes will come from, all of us come from homes. And homes can be battlegrounds. Your parents can resist your call. And it's a battle to fight. Your brothers, your sisters, your in-laws, they can resist you from making progress. I remember one time, those early years when I just gotten born again and I was doing fairly well. And I got, somebody came and told me that your mom and your uncle were talking and they were concerned that you're not developing fast. And I think they suspect that you're taking all your money to church and you're not spending money to develop. Say, but who told them? Who told them that I take all my money to church? But even if I take all my money to church, if that is what I have to do in order to progress, I know I have a relationship with my God. And if I have a conviction to do things for God, I have a life to live. I need to take a right decision. So somebody will come from your family to resist. I say, no. With this church thing, of course we need to have wisdom when we're doing church work. And you have other things to do. That while you want to prosper, after you've prayed, after you've served God, you have time to do other things as well. And then you progress. So that you don't become accused. You have been blaming God for employment, you have a job, but then they hear you are always praying every day, every working day when you are not there, and you finish your leave and you're praying. Praying is very good, but you need to have wisdom, such that you give God his due time and you give Caesar his due time. The other day I was asking, I told you how we do our family altar, and so there was a day I'm in group 3 with some 2 other individuals, but once in a while we are only 2. So I said, now my friend, you go first and then I will come next. What did you read today? So that you share. I said, today I became too busy, I didn't read. I said, now we will soon introduce a rule here. That if you spend a day without reading a Bible, the following day, we take away the phone the whole day and we see whether you have peace. Because we give a lot of time to phone. Remember when I talked about technology here? It is very rare for anybody who has a phone to say, I spend a whole day without looking at my phone. But then you spend a whole day without looking at the Word of God. Oh, what are you up to? I said, the next time I hear that kind of story, you will give me the phone, I will keep it the whole the following day. And I see whether life will remain the same. Definitely want to remain the same. You want to make this call, you might want to make this call, you want to make this, you want to... And when it becomes a smartphone, it even now takes you to another level. Because there are now more things to deal with. And you do not know that you are actually limiting your territory enlargement. Because there are battles you are supposed to fight and you are choosing not to fight them. You are becoming an ally with the enemy who wants to finish you off. In my language, you have a statement where they say that there were these 2 men. One was called Namanda, another one was called Wangoro. So now this one who is called Namanda brought his friend called Wangoro to stay with him. And before long, Wangoro evicted Namanda from his own home. We have that saying back home, that Namanda invited Wangoro and Wangoro evicted Namanda from his home. The things that you invite in your life that are going to evict you, the that you're going to remove all your inheritance. Before you know it, you have nothing. Courtesy of what you invited. There are battles that must be fought. You choose not to fight them, they will eat you. We see it. As much as even the earlier part of father against son, daughter against mother, even those are there, but we tend to pretend and cover them up. It is the last part which comes out fully blown.
And modified.
No missing words. And that's why you hear some people say that it is better to find a grave than finding your mother-in-law. Yes. You've heard of that saying? Yes. That's what Jesus is saying here. And therefore, if there is somebody in the family that is standing against your enlargement, that's a battle to fight. Not forgetting that your parents, you're supposed to honor them, respect them. But you draw lines. You draw lines. You know, Daddy, I respect you. Mommy, I respect you. I honor you. You're my parents. You brought me to this world. You raised me. You didn't kill me as an infant, so I know you didn't hate me. But now, as Paul says, as I was a child, I thought as a child. I acted as a child. Now I am a man. Can you allow me space to do things as a man? I will give you your respect. I will honor you. But there are things you need to let me handle. I told you once in a while, I would listen to this hish. And this lady was complaining, my husband cannot do anything without consulting her mother. We discuss, we agree, but it's like the mother has veto powers over what we agree. That means you're still baby to mama. You go back to you are not fit to get married because the two become one. Now, how do the Bible tells us you live and live. In the living, even those ideas, when somebody gives you a suggestion you can either implement or ignore. It is you who has a final say on how you proceed, because it's you who is going to dance the music of the consequences. If your mother sets you up and you land in the fire, it's you who is going to dance the music of the fire, not the mother. The mother will say, no, but I thought you had grown. My friend, they will jump out and they will leave you alone. I told you a story of a young man whose aunt enticed him to get married when he was still a student. And when he got married, and he said that the mother told him, now that you're a fellow man like me, I'm not going to pay fees because you are married just like I'm married. So, no fees, meaning stay home. So he stays home and he has nothing to do. So he keeps sneaking to mommy and daddy to carry their salt, to carry their paraffin, to carry whatever. And the old man says, no, please. You are now my neighbor. You are now a neighbor, so you take care of your territory. Take care of. So the young man runs to the auntie. Auntie, you got me to this thing? But things are not easy. And the very aunt who told him to get into that thing said, that's what it means to be a man. So you prove yourself as a man. I have nothing to do for you. So he was now in the deep end. When they throw him the deep end of the swimming pool or the river, you either drown or swim out. The person who pushed you, they will not be down in the water with you. So you either swallow as much water and drown. When they get you out, they will find your stomach has really put on a lot of because you drank a lot of water, you went into the deep end without assessing your capacity to swim. So you either swim or you drown. So the young man says, okay, he convinced the girl. Said, I'm going somewhere for a short while, so you visit your auntie. So when the girl visited the auntie, the boy went to plead with the father, I want to go back to school. So by the time this girl wants to come back, she should find me gone to school. So the father for once listened to him. Listened to him and said, okay, fine, here's the money. So he went to school. And in those days, the phones were not there like they are now. So he went to school and decided, I am not going back to get this girl. When the girl came back, even when the girl came back, the boy had gone to school. She waited, holiday came, the boy decided to go and take holidays at another relative's place. Until the girl had to give up. Know that this thing is not going to work. There are battles we have to fight in life. Family battles are there, and they are for real. Number 2, for those of us that are married, expect battles even in the bedroom. Now, this is not scare those who are believing God to get married, because the battles are there. Proverbs. Let's look at something in Proverbs 19. How many of us were here in the overnight where I said the marriages that should not happen? We prayed certain marriages that should not happen. Because if they happen, you will dance the music. And that's what we're talking about here. Proverbs 19. And this Friday we have another overnight. Yes. If God prompts me to bring back that list, because that list we will just take a small portion of it. There are so many others that we can touch. If God prompts me to bring back that list and mention the others that are not mentioned the other day, so be it. But we move by the leading of the Spirit. So, Proverbs 19. Verse 13 and 14, the Bible says, a foolish son is the ruin of his father, and the contentions of a wife are continued dripping. Houses and riches are an inheritance from fathers, but a prudent wife is from the Lord. Now, if you marry a wife who is not prudent, if you marry a wife who is contentious, other verses in this same proverb, there is a verse that says, it's better to be in a rooftop than in a white house with a quarrelsome wife. That's why you find there are some people, that bedroom has war. So you choose to sit and keep busy, such that the one who has gone before you sleeps, and so you just tiptoe and sneak there and also fall asleep, because bedrooms have their battles, and you need to be ready to fight those battles. You need to be ready to fight it. And incidentally, when you get married, we say for better, for worse, and therefore you must stay put and make sure this battle must be fought and we must get victory. We must get victory. And in that bedroom you can get what we call in management a win-win solution to the battles that are there. The bedroom battles does not mean when I win, she has to lose or he has to lose. No, you can get a win-win solution for those battles. Otherwise, you end up destroying yourself, because the challenge is when you get married, you become one. So meaning, you need to work at how you keep yourself as one. And so you need to look for a win-win situation. But we are saying your ministry. And that's when people will tell them, you know what, each of you has a calling. So meaning when you come together to get married, you need to recognize that my wife has her unique calling, my husband has his unique calling. I am here to support that calling to come through. But then even as a set, as a couple, together we also have a calling for both of us. And therefore the moment the two of you recognize that, these bedroom battles that challenge your enlargement will stop. Because you will recognize, my wife is called to do this. My husband is called to do this. The issue is, if it is interfering with other roles, what wisdom can we get? Because if she's praying all day, all night, she's declaring fasts where they are not called for. The Bible says, consult. You agree. You don't just wake up one day and declare a week's fast without his consent, without her consent. No. You are creating a battlefront here which is not very easy to fight. And then before you know it, when you get out of your fast because you've chosen not to listen, you find you've actually opened another battlefront because the other person has also chosen another path without consulting you. And then you now live like you are housemates. And so people who are around that home, they think, oh, these people are good, whatever. But you know, there is a furnace. There is a furnace. You go there and there is a lot of fire in there. So we need to know that those battles for your enlightenment, you need to be prepared to fight them. Because they will come. We're talking about Joshua dealing with the kings here and removing them and eliminating them. There will be financial battles. You will say, there was a gentleman who was testifying one time I had and read. He said, do you know, when I married my wife and there was a kid, we didn't have anything. That natambula nenonde juni eliyali kudeku. Nitugendo prake do kulie chekulu. You know these tracks that ferry Matoke and Mayuni and whatever and Kasava. When it drops, you count a blessing that something has dropped on the road. Because you're having a crisis at home. Your mother needs to eat and you have nothing to offer. So when finances are not there, you'll find another battle altogether. Somebody say, I married you because I knew you had. So these days, there are people who masquerade. You know, there are people who go for popular and they hire vehicles from bonds. Yeah. And they surprise how they function. And the function looks very powerful for onlookers and for the cameras and for whatever you put up a show. And after that, the bond takes their vehicles back. So many years back, there was a man in Kenya. Oh, I think since pastor, he was called Leonard Mambo Ngotera. He's still alive. Wow. The man has been around for some good time. He had a program, and the program would conclude with his statement. Because of the things that have happened. A man who called a lady and deceived the lady, I'm working here, this and that. The man did not have that work. He gets this lady who is now an accountant working somewhere. Now the man had no job, but eventually he was working in some company where he was cleaning washrooms in a company. So the girl comes from a very, very powerful family. So then, eventually, this girl says, but where do you work exactly? The man did not want the girl to know where he works. So eventually one day the girl just said, I will follow this man. Since I'm his wife, I will follow this man to find where he works. The man jumps into a matatu. The girl jumps through into the matatu also. Kenya bus, you pass through this door, I also pass through this door. Until when he got out, so she gets out and she looks the other direction so that he doesn't recognize. So, but he's monitoring her until she followed, until the man arrived on the job and changed his clothes to put on the clothes for work. And so he got on duty, then that's when the wife arrives. And when the wife arrives, this atmosphere changes. But the wife says, no, don't worry. You got me married, I married you, I'm not going to run away. I was only anxious to know what you do and where you work. Let me go back home. You will get me at home. I will not go anywhere. So the wife went back home. But you can imagine what thoughts were running through the man's mind through the day. So when the Mambo Mbotela says, now, using deception to get somebody hooked. And she said she's now married to you, she's now pregnant, you're a vision bearer, whose vision is impaired in some way because of deception. So, but eventually, when to cut the long story short, that this lady went and told her parents the kind of man she had married and all those things that happened in the function when he was getting to marry me. He had hired them. So, help us. So the parents helped and they said, we are willing to help your husband. If he wants to go to school, we can actually sponsor him to go through school. And they sponsored him. And eventually the husband was able to go through school, acquire the qualification, to eventually get the dream job he had deceived to have been working. We are talking about battles. So these financial battles are there, and they are for real. We must be ready to fight them. So when we say for better, for worse, even when money is not there, money may not be everything. There are battles over land. I cannot explain this enough, I've already told you. For us to expand as a church, as an individual, as a ministry, you've got your disciples. We want to start a branch and you need land. You must fight for land. Fight for money, fight for land. And therefore there will be battles. These days, you even spend your money and buy land, but somebody is ready to fight you over the land that you bought. I've already told you that, and I don't want to go so much on it. There is also a battle with people that are not loyal. You think I have somebody who is loyal, like the disciples we are having. I think I have my 10 disciples. But then you discover there are 2 that are not loyal. You say this, they contradict you. You issue an instruction, they issue a counter instruction. You say this, they say that, the other. You need to fight that battle as well. And that's why you can get to a point and say, now, you, because of your disloyalty, you are better off going where you get those voices you listen to. Because my voice does not make sense to you. So you go. And so some battles, you win them by pruning. You prune, you say, now this branch here is a parasitic branch. Have you seen parasitic plants that grow on other plants? When you go pruning that plant, Do you leave that one which is a parasitic plant? No, that's the first candidate. Before you get the plant, the leaves, the branches that resemble the real plant that you are working on, you look for that foreign plant that is a parasite, that is distressing the plant. And that's the first one you eliminate. So, when you get disloyal people, they will distress you. Because they are countering what you're doing. You say this, they say this. You do this, they should issue another instruction. And so you need to be prepared to fight those battles. So we are talking about enlightenment by fighting a series of battles. My time is up. At most we only had 2 or 3 more. You need to expect battles with wicked and unreasonable people. There are people you might think they are reasonable. No! Not everybody is that reasonable. There are people that are so unreasonable. Even when you do good, the Bible tells us, people, when you pay evil for good, evil will not depart from your home. But they don't realize that. Even when you quote them that scripture, they will not realize it. Because their ears are seared. Their minds, they don't perceive anything. And so you need to know, those ones are also another battlefront. The people that are unreasonable, ungrateful. You do for them something, they think they are entitled to eat, and they think you have not given them enough. I was told with the MC back home that there was a time they served pancakes. And someone was saying, oh, so-and-so has gotten me 3. Why have they given me 2? How many did you come with? So that you complain that I've given you 2 and somebody else has gotten 3. Being so unreasonable and ungrateful, you are not contributing and adding anything to our progress. All you do, you are sucking the positive energy out of us. We need to fight you off. So we release you, you go and have your battles elsewhere. Because we are not willing to continue spending our energy and our resources on unreasonable people. We need to be reasonable, we need to be understanding and appreciative that we are all destiny helpers, helping one another. But if you want, you are the one who is like the Dead Sea. I am here to receive and not to give anything. You're being unreasonable. We need to fight you. We need to fight you. We are human beings, and so we need to support one another. When you are my disciple, you actually make me grow when you grow. But when you resist growth, what do you want me to do for you? Why don't I prune you? Why don't I prune you? The Bible tells us in John 15 that Jesus is the vine, we are the branches. And the branch that does not bear, he prunes. And in Isaiah, is it chapter 5 or chapter 55, where the man was complaining against his vineyard? I've done everything for this vineyard, and it has given me nothing. Tell me whether I should not destroy it. That is scripture. It's not me who wrote the Bible. We all learn from this Bible. And so when you are dealing with unreasonable people, you know that is another battle. And that's why even in our places, we find so many unreasonable people. They want to shine on our sweat. And they're not helping us at all. And yet if they help us, we can all help each other shine. But if you are there to bring me down, and when I navigate and shine, you are the one who wants to take the credit. Why don't I fight? You being unreasonable. We need to fight and be prepared to fight battles with the liars and deceivers. There are people that can deceive. Somebody can lie about you, And when you hear a lie, you get distressed. I stopped getting distressed because of lies. I stopped getting distressed. Because when I know you are talking lies about me, then I know whom I'm dealing with. I know this one has come not to be of any help to me. Because it's out here to slander me, to lie about me, to talk all sorts of things. You go find somebody else to go and lie about. For me, whether you lie about me or you don't lie, time will tell. And your hearers will be able to tell who between you and me, when they keep seeing all of us, they will be able to tell. A lie can carry a day, but a matter of time, when the truth comes, a lie lacks where to hide. Lies fail to find a hiding place. And that's what happens with darkness, because lies are darkness. When you go to a room and it is dark and you switch on a bulb, where does darkness go? It flees. It flees. Because it knows we cannot work together. And so you need to be prepared to fight those liars. There was one time in Wamala there, a certain man of God came around with his family and they told us a very, very nice story. And I listened to the story. He said, okay, my wife said, okay, fine, these are ministers and they're struggling and whatever. We can give them a helping hand. So we helped them. For some time I said, no, we need to help somebody who is ready to get out of their situation and start to move on their own. But these ones don't, they seem to be having one story after another. One story after another. We need to be very, very careful. So then after some time, somebody brought a story back that he had that same man of God telling other people, now this is a person from another ministry, that you know that family, I think they need a lot of deliverance. They're having so many things that are not right. He was talking about us. And yet that gentleman who was talking with my wife, I think my wife had given him a lift. And he said, you need to be very careful with that gentleman. There is something he told me about you people. And so there are people who will lie about you. I said, well and good. All of us need deliverance in some way here and there, but is he the one who wants to come and conduct deliverance on us? So there are battles that